There were rumors of flashing lights outside the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta studio, but the hidden cameras didn't notice. The fans were completely stunned. Producers reportedly summoned the police in secret to quell a raging controversy that threatened to ruin the entire concert, not to arrest Mendeecees. Recently, Tasha K released body cam footage that shows the room where Yandy and Mena gathered for an emergency war room session was filled with every tremor of terror, every hasty whisper, and every gasp. As the trio rushed to come up with a damage control strategy, tensions were running high. The gossip blogs were outpaced by the accusations. Loyalty teetered on the precipice of tears and threatened to tumble. Betrayal. Alliances broke up and reformed in real time behind closed doors, and viewers watched every private conversation through brief audio snippets that Tasha K posted online with a single provocative tweet. The family was left feeling both relieved that the cameras were not stopped and shocked at how close they came to having a televised breakdown. But with this unprocessed, nothing will ever seem the same with the unfiltered proof that is currently in the wild. This is only the beginning of the fallout, so keep an eye out. There were shadows everywhere in the tiny conference room. One lamp on the table was the only source of light, and the glow from the phones served as improvised torches. Mena sank into a folding chair, her eyes wide and ringed in red. Her voice hardly audible beyond a whisper, as she mentally reenacted Tasha K's body cam breach. Tracing the rim of her coffee cup with her fingers, she whispered, "They really sense someone here." On the scratched linoleum floor, Yandy's trainers squealed as she paced back and forth. With her hair cascading over her face, she screamed, "We're in so much trouble." Fighting the tremor in his hands, Mendeecees leaned against the distant wall, his jaw clenched and his arms crossed. Outside, they were reminded by muted footfall and distant conversations that speculation was already roiling in the world outside these four walls. Loyalty and self-preservation were evident in every look shared. Each of them understood that their reputations, friendships, and even professions may be irreparably damaged if they didn't devise a strategy quickly, because fear had crept into their bones. As she explained the stakes, Erica's voice broke. "Before the story begins, those audio snippets were posted to YouTube. Everyone is going to think I abandoned him." Her remarks were laden with the weight of previous betrayals and the recollection of prior scandals that had destroyed families and careers. Yandy paused her pacing and gave a slow nod while folding her arms. "We require a story," she said. Mendeecees dabbed at his hairline as he rubbed his forehead. "We can frame it," he added, "but we can't lie." It was clear that his tone was tense. Denying flatly was not an option, but he was aware that they were flirting with calamity. Leaning closer, the three of them plotted out every angle that producers may clip, their voices falling to breathless whispers. What fans would respond to, and what Tasha K would emphasize. Ambition pushed panic aside, even in that small space, reminding them that the show must go on no matter what. Taking her phone out, Yandy browsed through social media post screenshots. Her comment was, "Look at this," as she swiped to a tweet that was already widely shared. It was Mendeecees who phoned the police on his own set. #LH leak. The words were a slap in the face. As her incredulity turned to pain, Erica reached for the phone and browsed through the irate remarks. She said, "They think I'm in on it." With his fists clenched, Mendeecees closed his eyes. He mumbled, "I never wanted to drag you into this." His voice trembled with defiance and regret, the two feelings battling in the shallow rise and fall of his chest. Their strategy session took on the cadence of a war council. Erica drew out a timeline of events on a crumpled notepad when the leak hit. Yandy rubbed her temples, her head throbbing from the noise of their collective panic, and outside the door the faint hiss of the air conditioning sounded like a deadline ticking down. "We have to get ahead of the rumor that he was arrested. Let's emphasize that the police were called as a precaution to restore order, not to charge him." Mendeecees ran a hand through his hair. On the arrival of the police, who had been there at every moment, she mentally relived parts of the audio, Yandy's half-caught plea, the officer's clipped commands, and DC's shocked gasp. "So we spin it as a defensive precaution," he said. "Exactly," Yandy said firmly. "We frame it like you are the reason for disorder, not its victim." Controlling perception was key to their strategy, as they portrayed themselves as mature, responsible individuals targeted by spectacular leagues instead than as the door opened and a producer, whose eyes darted uncomfortably between them as they worked out talking points, entered with a clipboard and a resolve that wavered between urgency and tiredness. "I need your quotes by 5, she said in a low voice. Network. Wants to make a proactive statement tonight. The producer nodded, looking at the phones lighted up across the table, each screen a portal to public indignation. And keep it tight, no mention of charges, just concern for safety, Erica said, straightening and swallowing hard. We'll have something, she assured, though her voice felt dry. Silence hung heavy until Yandy exhaled, and the room seemed to exhale with her. They had an assignment, a version of events to sell, but the gap between what actually happened and what they would say yawned wider than before. She left as quietly as she had arrived, the door clicking in their ears. We'll offer a sit-down interview, Mendeecees said, leaning forward and talking in a tone that was almost conspiratorial. Me, Erica, you live on camera, he said. We discussed the incident, thanked the cops for their competent handling of the situation, and apologized for the panic. He looked directly at Erica, who glowed with joy and incredulity. You really think people will buy that? We get ahead of it. Control the narrative. Yandy tapped her foot and said, I think it's our best shot, because Tasha K's next leak will be even worse. She claimed to have all of the film. If we for a moment, the words felt like a verdict. Don't do this, we're screwed. As their phones buzzed again with producer messages, fan theories, and urgent group texts from the cast, the pressure built up like steam in a boiler. And finally, Erica clicked Hershey, pressed her palms together and stroked her tongue. All right, she continued, let's write that statement down. Yandy looked at the crumpled notes on the table, her determined jaw set illuminated by the screen's glow, as Mendeecees spread his arms out. We'll do it together, he declared. No more secrets. The declaration hung in the air, promising unity, but also implying the tenuous truce they were establishing, while the studio corridors outside the war room hummed with the usual production noise, cameras rolling, lights being reset, extras milling about time had stopped inside. We want to discuss the event that happened last night. Erica took a deep breath and started talking in a calm, even voice. As her words filled the small room, the three of them prepared for the next stage of the drama machine. Alliances teetered on, emotions ran high. The family was left feeling torn between fear and resolve. But for the time being, they had a plan. The cameras were already rolling when Erica, Mendeecees, and Yandy entered the makeshift interview set, a small group of chairs encircled by cables and lighting rigs. The edge, and every heartbeat felt like a countdown to the moment when the world would hear their side of the story. The air smelt of fresh paint and adrenaline. Mendeecees hovered behind her for a heartbeat before sitting and clearing his throat. Yandy sat on the edge of her chair, posture rigid, eyes darting to every corner of the room as if expecting Tasha K herself to burst through the door at any moment. Erica settled into her seat, smoothing her dress as if straightening a delicate shield. A silence descended as the director called for action. Erica took a deep breath and spoke calmly. We want to address the situation that unfolded last night, specifically the presence of law enforcement on set. Her words were despite the tremor she felt inside. Mendeecees nodded. With a solemn expression, he replied, that was a precautionary measure, in a quiet voice. Following some growing rumors, our producers asked the police to ensure safety. The three of them looked at each other quickly, a silent dance of skepticism and trust playing out in their eyes, leaned forward and stared at the camera's tiny lens. We understand how alarming it looked, she continued, but no arrests were made and no charges were filed. It was about managing chaos, not criminal behavior. A producer scrawled frantically on the director called cut as the on-camera statement came to an end, recording every word for the network's official release in a notepad. Erica laughed shakily and added, well, as the lights dimmed for a while, allowing the three to catch their breath. It was unbelievable. Mendeecees massaged his temple, whispering, surreal is one word for it. Yandy combed her hair and said, we did it, but her voice sounded unsure, as if she was afraid. It wasn't enough. The three of them collected their belongings and slipped out off set, negotiating a tangle of wires and crew members. The network's public relations lead caught them in the hallway, tablet in hand. The statement goes live in an hour, she said, editing. And we've scheduled a panel of cast interviews to reinforce it. Stay sharp. She left them with pennies of relief and dollars of dread. They sought solace in the same tiny conference room where they had held their crisis meeting. But it felt different now, cramped and smaller. Mendeecees put his head in his hands and dropped into a chair. Did we make a mistake? He responded, no. And Erica knelt next to him. We got out ahead, she added. but her voice was tinged with uncertainty. Yandy pressed her phone to her ear and scrolled through the network's live stream chat. Thousands of viewers are already chiming in. Some offered supportive hearts, others sneered with gifs of handcuffs. Tasha K just tweeted, "Enjoy the official spin. Actual footage lands in 30." A tweet blazed like a time bomb as Yandy's face became colorless. Erica picked up the phone. "Enjoy the official spin. The real footage will be released on the 30th. They were hit more by the truth of their half-truth than by any body cam. Mendeecees stated, "We only postponed the inevitable, and Leak had no intention of bluffing." Rashidita slipped as the door opened and the agonizingly long minutes before going live passed. "I saw the statement," she remarked gently. "That was brave." She hurriedly hugged each of them, her face etched with concern. She blinked. To Erica, "Do you think we covered everything?" "We said what we could," Erica said, swallowing. Rashida's eyes softened. "No, we've got your back," she murmured. The network's social media feed was flooded with footage of fans assembling outside the studio earlier. With placards reading, "We want truth" tweets calling for transparency. The hashtag, #where are the clips? She left them with a slight nod, entering the fluorescent corridor as if crossing a line between solidarity and distance. Producers hurried to arrange a backup live broadcast in which the actors defended the story. At the same time, outside the studio, Tasha K was preparing her next move. In a room illuminated by several monitors, she queued up the body cam audio clip, this time extended with the familiar gravitas of Fedra and Papoose, who joined the panel and gave their familiar gravitas. The network strategy was evident. Officers' cool orders, the rustle of papers, the click of handcuffs being fastened shut, despite the fact that those shackles never touched flesh. She superimposed timestamps and text on the screen, adding a voiceover. Real occurrences, real reactions, cool. And there was a buzz of tension as everyone checked their phones. And Erica scrolled through Tasha K's profile, noting the countdown timer ticking towards 0. Confident, you heard them spin their story. Now hear the unfiltered truth. The panel was over, and the main cast poured into the green room back in the studio. The network's PR lead reappeared, and Mendeecees remained at the window, staring out as if looking for a way out. "Any minute now," she muttered, and Gandhi closed her eyes, gathering courage. "We can handle it," she mumbled partially to herself. "The panel needs talking points, and we have word that they will drop at precisely 8 o'clock, she stated. "What do we learn?" The eyes of Mendeecees and Yandy met Erica's. All of them felt though serious. That question is how to confront the harsh realities without admitting fault. Huddled together, their voices low, they crafted words that promised openness, while preserving their framing. Misunderstanding, caution, no charges, no arrests. When the clock struck 8, there was a quiet rumble in the room. A buzzing notification sounded on phones. Live from Tasha K. At once she pressed play. The sound from the body cam filled every screen and caused the playback icons to twirl. The officer's calm tone. "This protocol is common." Next came Mendeecees' gasping breath. A slight clatter of metal. Russell's evident presence as someone reached for a phone was evidence that the cops were indeed present, and that something more serious than spin control had occurred. Unbelief and curiosity surged as viewers leaned forward. Tasha K was smirking and holding a microphone when the studio monitor cut to her video window. "So much for precaution," she was saying. "In the event that there was no scene worth policing, why else would they summon us?" Her remarks fell like detonators. They were engulfed in quiet in the green room. In preparation for the consequences, Erica closed her eyes. Even after the network's broadcast cut to a commercial break, the effect persisted. When the panel reassembled, face pallid with flitting eyes, a younger producer ran in. The tablet arose. "Social media is exploding. The body cam blows cover. We knew they were lying. We require a prompt on-camera reaction." They returned to the set at the director's signal. Second-hand nerves were in the air as Erica, Yandy and Mendeecees walked out under bright lights once more. Erica drew in her breath. She started, "We hear you. Solid. We never meant to give false information. We couldn't explain the matter in a short statement because it was so complicated." Then Mendeecees came. "To prevent a rumor-fueled escalation, we contacted the police to protect the cast and staff." Yandy shut her eyes, then opened them deliberately. "We recognize how frustrated you are. We're determined to be completely transparent going forward. However, the stills from Tasha K's body lingered on the screen behind them, images of strained faces, uniforms, and clenched hands that seemed frozen palms. The evidence outweighed their flimsy justifications. Fans who were caught in a deception sent angry messages. "Don't lie, we're worthy of better." The weight of the group's expectations caused the three of them to falter. Erica leaned against a wall and spoke in a hollow voice after the second segment ended. "We're drowning," she added in a whisper. Mendeecees squatted down next to her. He remarked, "We knew this would get messy, but I didn't believe it would go this far." Yandy slid back against the wall on the other side and slipped to the floor. She said, "What's our next move?" Beyond the studio walls, her inquiry reverberated in the emptying studio, echoing with every unsaid worry. Tasha put together her last clip of the evening, which was a composite of all the clips they had released, with dripping commentary interwoven throughout. "This is more than just a rumor," she said. "It's a behind-the-scenes look at production spin." The Globe watched, rapt, and hungrily as her videos started to upload. As the aftermath struck like a tidal wave, phones lit up across the set as alerts chimed non-stop notifications from Tasha K's latest drop, and fans began to scramble for cover under a barrage of truth that no statement could fully contain. The war room had turned into a battlefield. Erica sat on the edge of a sofa cushion, her hands covering her face as she scrolled through the pings from producers. "They're calling me a liar," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I just tried to help." Yandy gripped the cool metal of a folding chair with her palm and inhaled a trembling breath. "We spin too much. They see through it," she added in a tone tense with annoyance. Mendeecees stood at the window, staring out at the lowering sky. As though waiting for a miracle to ease the tension, a small army of publicists and aides attempted to quiet the commotion by creating tweets, preparing fly statements, and contacting influencers. But every sigh of support was smothered by the thunderous roar of skepticism. "Is this a precautionary call?" One well-known blogger shared a caption that was brimming with uncertainty. "Or did Mondays nearly get booked?" The comment received a ton of likes and replies in a matter of seconds. "This is getting worse by the minute," Erica muttered, her lips drawn into a thin line as she watched the comment count soar. Rashidi returned with a tap on the door, carrying a tablet with analytics graphs on the screen that rose like mountain ranges. "K engagement is over the up. But sentiment is plunging," she observed. "People want real answers. They're weary of the usual excuses." "Look at this," she whispered in a hushed voice. Mendeecees was flanked by Erica and Yandy, while Rashida combed through the analytics. Yandy and Erica looked at each other. "Transparency," replied Erica. "We gave them a statement. We sat down. What more do they want?" Mendeecees stroked his temples. "They want truth, not spin." Outside, the set workers spoke to each other while glancing at their phones, whispering things like, "Did you hear the body cam? And they told lies, don't they? We need a new tactic," the network's public relations lead said, her eyes wide and anxious. "And the panel tonight has to be unscripted," she said. "Real conversation is what we need." Mendeecees' eyes flickered with hesitation as he glanced at Yandy and Erica. Erica straightened her backbone and replied, "We can do that, but it has to be genuine." The PR lead nodded. Alcove. The flicker of exposed bulbs cast tall shadows on the concrete walls as they gathered around a small round table in a storage room. "I'll clear it with the producers. You'll have 10 minutes to get ready." Yandy sent a chair skidding back with a kick to her legs. "What do we say?" Erica placed her hand on Yandy's arm and replied, "We start with an apology." In response to her question, "Afterward, we take responsibility for the fear and panic. We explained to them why we dialed 911. How did we feel at that precise moment?" Mendeecees sighed. "I regret how it turned out," he said. "But I still think to keep Erica and the crew safe, the decision was the right one." "All right," Erica murmured. "Let's do it," and she clasped his hand. They were taken to another makeshift stage. 10 minutes later, a basic platform with 3 stools and lighting above it. A single Erica cleared her throat and turned to face the camera as the camera rolled. "We're here because we realize you deserve honesty," she said, adding, "and last night, when the rumors got out of hand, we didn't know where to turn." She took a moment to process what she had said. "We called the police because this wasn't just tabloid gossip," says Yandy, leaning closer, voice steady. "It seemed genuine. It was threatening." Mendeecees nodded. "I didn't want anyone to get hurt," he remarked. "I thought stepping in that way would calm the storm." Erica gulped. But spinning a narrative only fanned the flames. She acknowledged, "We want to apologize for that. We are apologist." Erica wiped at her eyes, reaching for her own vulnerability as the camera continued to film, capturing their unscripted, raw voices. She said in a broken voice, "I felt abandoned by the man I trusted. My fear caused me to doubt everything." Yandy's eyes gleamed. "I felt torn between loyalty and truth." She came clean. "I should have spoken up, but I remained silent." Mendeecees covered his heart. He addressed Yandy directly, saying, "I betrayed your trust. I'll work every day to recoup it." At that point, the candor of their admissions broke through the scandal's static and connected with viewers on a deeper level. The emoticons overflowed the chattered sweeping faces. Fire is a symbol of the strength of exposed truth. Tasha K, however, was far from done. Erica's phone displayed a fresh push notification as the three of them finished their spontaneous apology. "You can hear the producers talking this time," she read, "and it's slowly widening," its eyes widening. Tasha K dropped part 2 of the body cam. Yandy took hold of the phone. She inquired in a panic, "What are they saying?" Erica flipped over the pages. "The officers are overheard telling them to keep it off the record. Just control the optics," she read, "to make sure there were no charges." Mendeecees lowered his face. He whispered that this was as much producer spin as ours. It hurt to learn this. They had believed they were one another's fronts. However, the shield of production was now also visible. Every moment of surprise on their expressions was captured on video. Erica gulped. She asked, returning her attention to the lens, "You hear that?" The way we the producers acknowledged that it was spin. Yandy took the phone. Her tone was stern as she said, "We were set up. This wasn't solely our fault." A fist was raised by Mendeecees. "We also want promoted to occur once more." Together, they raised their voices. Abruptly, there was a clamor of protest against the apparatus that had attempted to twist reality for dramatic effect. The fans burst out. "Teen Truth." They switched. "Onmakers. It's actual television." The controversy gave way to rebellion as the energy changed. The control rooms. The sentiment dashboard sounded alarms. Around the world. The unscripted section was trending. The network executive's features rippled with shock as she gazed at the screens. Although producers frantically tried to regain control, the situation had changed. Now, the audience was enthralled by the cast's sincerity and supported their efforts to have genuine conversations. The normal viewers witnessed a group in crisis connected by common confessions. Blurring the lines between the victim and the villain, Erica, Yandy and Mendeecees were huddled together backstage. With adrenaline still coursing through their veins, when Rashida arrived, each of their shoulders was touched by her hand. "That was everything," she remarked in a constricted voice. With tears still streaming down her face, Erica nodded. "You took back the story." She claimed that we did it for ourselves. Gandhi blew out his breath. "For the fans who seek the truth, relief and resolve coexist." Mendeecees gave a tiny smile. "Everything else is irrelevant." The world outside hummed with reaction. But for a moment the four stood in silent solidarity. But the conflict had not ended. Relisa was waiting for the last clip of the evening from Tasha K. Cast confessions, body cam footage, and producer admissions combined. The next explosion was visually counted down as the upload bar drew closer to completion. Erica took a look at her phone. 10%, she stated. Yandy's jaw tightened. She said, "We need to get ready for round 4. Mendeecees took a nod. He said confidently, "We face it together." A steadying breath was drawn by Rashida. "We will confront it, she concurred. The green room was silent as the upload was complete, and all of the phones waited for their breath. Erica held out her hand and pressed play, and everyone looked on in amazement as the last puzzle piece fit into the tangled web of spin. The final bar of the upload lit green, and Tasha K's video went live. Within seconds, the first wave of comments flowed in. Raw, vicious, no one saw that coming. Fear, loyalty, and manipulation. The family was split between revelation and unity, spectacle and sincerity, but for the first time, they stood as a single front, prepared to face whatever truth or lies the next clip would bring. The last hours of the live feed felt like they were stuck in a time limbo, with every chatter from AK's final compilation had landed on social media like a hammer, shattering any remaining illusions of control. Every whispered exchange in the corridors seemed amplified under the weight of what had already happened. Erica, Yandy, and Mendeecees returned to the green room, their shoulders sagging under the shared gravity of relief and fatigue. and Rashida hovered nearby, a steady presence amid the chaos as the lights outside the studio dimmed and technicians started taking down the scribbled cables and heavy cameras that had silently witnessed the battle they had fought for their own truth. None of them spoke. At first, the words were too small to convey the magnitude of what they had just experienced. Finally, Erica broke the silence. She looked Yandy in the eyes, and Yandy nodded. "We have to decide what to do next," she said in a quiet but strong voice. "Despite the leaks, the spin, the rumors, and the body cam, we have momentum now. If we disappear, the story will revert to chatter. We must seize this opportunity." Mendeecees leaned forward as though the little room might collapse on them. He was still wet from crying earlier. His words trembled with cautious optimism, and Rashida pressed her lips together. "Let's continue to show people who we truly are, flawed, scared, but honest." After a series of uncensored, behind-the-scenes web clips, a vlog tour of the set, and moments that weren't polished for broadcast, the idea spread like wildfire, and plans soon came to fruition. The on-duty producer took notes for an unplanned after-show segment, and Erica offered to host, her nerves stealing into resolve. "I'll do it if I can bring my camera crew in so I can show the audience the real me, not the highlight reel," Rashida said, adding that he would moderate to keep it civil and honest. Yandy proposed a live, candid Q&A with fans on Instagram to address the most challenging questions head-on. They collaborated to create a blueprint for what might be the most authentic extension of the show's brand vulnerability as content. As dawn approached, the mindless hum of gossip blogs gave way to sincere conversation threads, and commentators praised their willingness to own up, with some questioning whether this was a smart marketing move or real growth. Although everyone appeared to agree that they had created a brilliant act of group atonement, a new tension arose beneath the cheers. Would fans watch for genuine moments, or would the cameras themselves turn into another trap? "We define the boundaries, we choose what we share and when." Yandy patted her arm, and Erica, sensing the question unspoken, stood and paced slowly, hands clasped. "We've come this far, we can figure out the rest." Meanwhile, in a small editing area just outside the studio doors, Tasha K watched their post-crisis roundtable unfold, her smirk tinted with interest. Mendeecees breathed, relief softening his features. After planning the leak, she started to cue new clips and cut scenes of laughter, frustration, and even anger from previous shoots, the kind of behind-the-scenes scraps that usually remained on the cutting room floor, fearing what would happen when exposure lost its shock value. She knew that fans wanted authenticity, but she also understood how easily even sincere moments could be turned into drama. In the green room, the cast gathered around a single laptop to view Tasha K's most recent release. The video started innocently, with a blooper of Mendeecees tripping over his own feet. She uploaded the preemptive post-show film, tagged it with exclusive aftermath, and pushed publish lines. An unguarded moment of Yandy laughing off Kamar, Erica frantically removing makeup, and then the tone changed. Rashida's reflective stillness was also abruptly chopped, as were the trio's exhausted faces after asking producers for genuine conversation. Although the montage was personal and unvarnished, Tasha K's narration added conjecture to each look. Did Erica's laughter represent true happiness or anxious relief? Did Mendeecees' stumble allude to more profound tiredness? The sequence concluded with the words, "Truth is never simple and you'll want to see every hidden layer." Erica's palm went to her lips as they all experienced the gut punch and electric rush of being seen without filters. Was Yandy's calm a mask? Rashida broke the enchantment, saying, "We handle this. We reply on our terms." Mendeecees massaged his eyes as if removing cobwebs, while Yandy's face furrowed in both recognition and defiance. Yandy grinned. "Riley, we'll call." Erica nodded. "We record our own unfiltered response at 24-hour behind-the-scenes vlog where we speak directly to our fans. No interruptions, no commentary from outside." A new chapter began when Mendeecees smiled and said, "And we'll host it ourselves so no one else can twist our words." They put up cameras in the green room, on the stage, and even in the parking lot where they had previously gathered in terror. Join us in real time, for the moments reality TV usually hides. The war room seemed like a faraway memory as the cast embraced their roles as storytellers, not just subjects. Fans were invited into meal breaks, makeup chairs, conversations, and quiet moments of reflection. Producers exchanged polished promos for candid previews. Just subjects Tasha K, Mendeecees, and Rashida sat side by side on a couch with cameras rolling as mourning bled into grief. Talking about fear, betrayal, relief, and optimism, laughing at their own errors, and clinging to each other's strengths without promising perfection, they had found something far more powerful than control. The courage to let the cameras capture their true selves, scars and all. The family, once split by leaks and spin, now stood united under the banner of authenticity, and the world watched, fascinated by this rare convergence of showmanship and sincerity. Outside the studio, you've been there as panic turned to apology, as secrets were revealed, and as the real aftermath played out in real time. No more polished soundbites. This was raw emotion, unfiltered access, and we've seen every tremor of doubt, every whispered strategy, and every heartfelt confession, as Tasha, Mendeecees, and Yandy battled to reclaim their story from spin and sensationalism. It's time for you to weigh in. Do you think the body cam leak finally cleared the air, or merely caused more chaos? Which instances struck a chord with you the most? Do you think their emergency round explanations were credible? Whether it's a Mendeecees' promise to restore trust, Yandy's unwavering loyalty, or causes tears of relief. Share your thoughts and let your voice influence the next chapter of this story. If you're as interested in the real drama as we are, hit the like button to demonstrate that you value truth over hype. Subscribe and ring the bell to ensure you never miss an honest moment. You want more uncut interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and live fan Q&As with the cast? Tell us what you want and we'll give it to you. Behind-the-scenes moment or breaking revelation. We're dedicated to presenting you the story as it really unfolds without the filters. Share your theories, questions, and hashtag opinions in the comments section below. This path from controversy to unity is fueled by your involvement. Furthermore, we'll continue to remove the layers together until the truth is revealed. Hold on tight, because even if Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's cameras may stop shooting, the dialogue will continue. And the center of it is you.